Despite drivers speaking up, despite rumors continuing to circulate, NASCAR's Scott Miller reassures fans that the next-gen car is still on schedule. How's it going, y'all? My name is Eric and welcome to Out of the Groove. Show and Tell Tuesday is upon us. At the end of this episode, we'll be going through the mail y'all sent me. And a real quick PSA, this is the final month that P.O. Box will be open, so if you'd like to send anything and have it featured on Out of the Groove, you have until the end of July, and then it'll be shutting down. For the time being, I couldn't imagine the support that I've gotten from that P.O. Box. It's been honestly overwhelming, but I really do appreciate those of you who send packages, who send letters. I really do appreciate. This isn't the end of the P.O. Box forever, but just this chapter in the P.O. Box's life. You know, I did one a couple of years ago, then was moving around a lot, took some time off, opened this one up for a set several month period, and you know, that period is coming to an end, but I really appreciate the support from you guys. We'll be going through the mail at the end of this episode, but before we get to that, we have a lot to discuss straight from NASCAR. So NASCAR's VP of Competition, Scott Miller, went on SiriusXM NASCAR Radio. He was a guest on The Morning Drive this morning, and he addressed two of the most controversial topics coming out of Atlanta this weekend. We've talked about some of this stuff already on the show. Last week there were rumors going around that the next-gen car had failed a crash test and that drivers and teams were worried this was going to put NASCAR way behind schedule. Then there was conversation about Ross Chastain's late race move at Atlanta Motor Speedway, where he seemed to help his teammate Kurt Busch get by Kyle Busch for the win. Scott Miller addressed both of these controversies this morning, so I thought we could react to what he said together. First off, Scott Miller, again NASCAR VP of Competition, reassured the industry that the next-gen car is still on schedule.
So there's no punting the car until 23 or all that stuff.
Sir.
Timelines are still on as they should be?
Absolutely.
The next-gen car is still expected to debut at Daytona in February of 2022. Now, remember Friday, I believe, NASCAR put out a statement about, the recent crash test rumors, the safety rumors around the next-gen car, saying that many of the rumors had been wildly exaggerated, that the crash test dummy during the Talladega crash test from a couple weeks ago had performed well, according to them. Well, Scott Miller this morning, as far as I can tell, is the first NASCAR executive to actually speak out publicly about these rumors. Again, this was on SiriusXM NASCAR Radio, The Morning Drive. Here's some of what he said this morning, and then we'll react to it together.
There's a lot of fiction out there, and what everybody has to realize is that our normal safety testing procedure at the laboratory, so to speak, the proving grounds where we set up our impacts and get the data, that was done differently because of COVID and because of the backlog at that facility. So we did that test at Talladega at a real racetrack. What everybody needs to understand is when we were able to do that testing and any safety testing that we do, there are reams of data that come off of that. It always takes a while to piece together a complete report on what we saw in a crash. We see absolutely nothing in the data that's alarming, but we want to have a comprehensive report. And I have no idea how all of the rumors started about that it didn't go well, because it did go well. Maybe we should have communicated that better up front. It's not like because it's taken time, it's not good. That's obviously how all the rumors get started. So
he says a couple of things right there straight up. He says that so far, based on the preliminary data they have from that Talladega crash test, that NASCAR sees nothing alarming. He also says that the test went well, but he also admits that perhaps NASCAR was not good at communicating with the drivers that the data from this crash test would take more than just a couple of days to communicate. And I think Scott Miller is exactly right. I think that is where a lot of these negative rumors have come from. I think from the team's perspective and the driver's perspective, I think everything is maybe falling slightly behind schedule. Like Kevin Harvick said at Atlanta Motor Speedway this weekend that there's supposed to be a tire test at Bristol in like a month, but none of the teams have any fully assembled next-gen cars yet and are still missing many of the crucial pieces, awaiting the results of these crash tests. So I think from the driver and some of the team's perspectives, maybe they are falling slightly behind schedule. Scott Miller is indicating there that they're still on schedule, that they just didn't communicate with the drivers and teams that it would take a couple of weeks to get all of the final data sorted through. So I know what you guys are saying. This is coming from NASCAR. Of course NASCAR is going to say stuff to make them sound good. Of course NASCAR is going to say there's no problem, we're on schedule. They're going to say what's in NASCAR's best interest. And I'd say you're right, but at the same time, if there really was a serious problem, if NASCAR was seriously looking at the data and thinking to themselves, hey, we may not be able to get this car on track for the start of 2022, I think they'd be trying to get in front of that message. I don't think they would be saying things like this publicly, oh, there's no problem at all, everything's going well, we're not on schedule completely, everything's fine. I feel like you wouldn't go out publicly and say all of that unless it was true. Because now if in like a month or so NASCAR announces a delay or says, oh, there's huge problems or something, now everything Scott Miller said there just looks really, really bad on NASCAR. I don't think NASCAR's just puffing their chest out making all this up. There may still be some small concerns, and like I said, there may be some small, slight delays in the next gen process, but I don't think it's anything catastrophic at this point. You know, Denny Hamlin said this past weekend, like, if NASCAR comes back and says the numbers are all good, like, do you trust them? And Denny Hamlin said, of course, like, you know, NASCAR can't fudge those numbers. If they fudge the numbers and then a driver gets hurt, that becomes a liability issue for NASCAR and their trouble becomes huge. And so just like I said last week, while I think it's fair to be concerned about safety, to raise important questions, I think it's also important to take a step back and realize that the sky is not falling on the next gen car. At least that's how it appears. Now, that being said, NASCAR, the drivers and the teams should be getting the full report from that Talladega crash test, you know, in the next few days, within the next week or so. And it's believed that at that point, the chassis will begin being shipped out and teams will start assembling their own next gen cars. So hopefully by the end of the summer, they'll still be able to make some of those crash tests scheduled that Kevin Harvick was mentioning. But yeah, I guess we'll have a pretty good idea in the next week or so whether or not the next gen car is still pretty much on schedule, or if there is something behind the scenes that NASCAR's noticed that needs to be addressed before they ship these cars out to all the race teams. And that could potentially delay the next gen car's introduction. But in my opinion, I think the next gen car will still race in February at Daytona. Now, of course, I'm not in any of the meetings, but that's just based off my observations. Now, Scott Miller also addressed the other big controversy from this past weekend. This was more of an on-track controversy. In the closing laps of the Quaker State 400 at Atlanta, Ross Chastain moved up and appeared to take race leader Kyle Busch's line away, allowing second place Kurt Busch to close the gap and ultimately complete the pass. Went on to win the race. Ross Chastain is Kurt Busch's Chip Ganassi Racing teammate, and in his post-race comments, Kurt Busch thanked Ross Chastain and even referred to the classic Talladega Nights bit, shake and bake. Teammates working together, best friends working. What's the plot of Talladega? They're like friends at that point, whatever it was. Talladega Nights a goofy movie. But needless to say, anyone who watched that race on Sunday could see that Ross Chastain helped Kurt Busch win that race. Without Ross Chastain moving up in front of Kyle Busch's lane, there's a pretty good chance Kurt Busch doesn't complete that pass and does not win the race on Sunday. Kyle Busch was not happy with Ross Chastain after the race, and this has led to a debate within the NASCAR fan base. Was Ross Chastain wrong to race Kyle Busch a little harder, or was it, you know, fair game? I can't quite put my finger on it, but there's something about NASCAR fans, as opposed to, say, Formula One fans, that makes them just hate the idea of teammates working together, you know, team orders taking place, things like that. There's something about NASCAR fans, and maybe it's the bad taste that came from, you know, Spingate in 2013 or other, you know, egregious examples, but I really just can't quite figure out what it is that makes so many NASCAR fans hate the idea of teammates working together to beat another race car. So I only briefly went over this in my post-race review on Sunday, so we'll talk about it a little bit more here. But first, here's what Scott Miller, again, NASCAR VP of Competition, said in regards to the Ross Chastain incident. It wasn't an obvious blocking job in my view. We certainly didn't see anything other than hard racing from the tower perspective. Now, there's a couple parts to this. First, I don't fully agree with Scott Miller's interpretation of that late race incident. I think it's pretty clear both from the radio transmission in which we hear Kurt Busch's team ask Ross Chastain's team to give them the bottom lane. You know, they don't explicitly say, hey, mess with Kyle Busch or anything like that. They said literally, hey, we're good on the bottom, move up to the top, which also happened to be Kyle Busch's fast lane. So, you know, all we have is that radio communication. We also have, you know, what we saw on the racetrack with our own eyes. We have, you know, Kurt Busch and Ross Chastain basically admitting that, yes, teammates are going to help teammates. So, no, I don't agree entirely with Scott Miller's assessment that it was just hard racing. Like, Ross Chastain and Kurt Busch were doing what was best for Chip Ganassi Racing. So, by that definition, they were still going 100%. they were just working together to ensure a team victory as opposed to necessarily, Ross Chastain getting the best possible finish for himself. So I think Scott Miller's interpretation of the incident is a bit too slimmed down, but I'll agree with NASCAR and Scott Miller in this case. I don't think incidents like what we saw on Sunday should be officiated by NASCAR. I think it's good to leave that as a no call. I don't want to see NASCAR stepping into those types of incidents and trying to make a judgment call. Like we talk about eliminating gray areas in the NASCAR rulebook, we want things to be black and white. Either it's a penalty or it's not. I don't want to give NASCAR a chance to interpret something that maybe the fans don't see. If we're talking about eliminating gray areas, if we were to implement some sort of team orders rule in response to this Ross Chastain Kurt Busch deal, that would be one of the largest gray areas in the NASCAR rulebook, in my opinion. I agree with Scott Miller that I think from NASCAR's perspective, there was nothing wrong there. They shouldn't try to take a hardline stance or officiate that kind of incident. But at the same time, I think his interpretation of what actually happened is dumbed down intentionally. I think he's intentionally sort of playing it off so that he doesn't get as many fans calling on them to officiate that type of call. Do I love team orders type stuff in NASCAR? Not necessarily. I think there's a difference between the second and third place car who happen to be teammates, bump drafting each other past the leader at Daytona, as opposed to, this kind of incident where a guy's 20th place about to go a lap down, sort of messing with the leader a little bit to allow his teammate in second to get by. I think there's a small difference there, but not a big one. I don't really have an issue with team orders. I mean, to me, there is a line that could be crossed. I think if, say Ross Chastain, made contact with Kyle Busch, sort of went up and rubbed into him a little bit late in the race, and that allowed Kurt Busch to go by, that would be crossing the line, in my opinion. You could argue that with this current 550 horsepower rules package at a track like Atlanta, just moving up late and kind of taking the leader's line away, even though you're a few car lengths ahead of them, you could argue that hurt Kyle Busch as badly as, rubbing into him at another track might hurt him. So there's arguments to be made, but when it's all said and done, I don't want to see more gray areas in the NASCAR rulebook, so I'm fine with NASCAR not officiating this, and with whatever, kind of dumb conclusion they have to come to as to why they're not going to officiate those types of plays, fine. That's fine by me. If Scott Miller really says that was not blocking or whatever, then so be it. I don't agree with his definition, but I do agree with NASCAR's overall philosophy that, they shouldn't over-officiate, team orders type plays. I just think that opens up a whole new can of worms. So I'm fine with NASCAR's no call. The definition is a little weird though. And let me just say, even this week, Kurt Busch, Chip Ganassi, they are not being shy about that incident at all. I mean, Kurt Busch posted a literal shake and bake edit on his social media yesterday.
Tell Mr. Dennett that Kurt Busch is my best friend. And it's shake and bake time.
So they're not hiding it. I think NASCAR, though, is making the right call by not trying to officiate those types of incidents. Now, those are the two big stories I wanted to get to today. Now let's wrap this episode up with the latest edition of Show and Tell Tuesday. Now again, I want to say a huge thank you to everyone who's sent things into my P.O. box and contributed to the show. Let's see what type of stuff y'all shared with us this week. Oh boy, lots of packing peanuts in this one. We have a note. This is from Scrapyard in Texas. Scrapyard, good to see you again. Saw that you used some Cars diecast for the Groovy Gulch video, so I figured these would make a fun addition to your collection. Oh boy. Oh, I see what these are. I saw these at the store not that long ago and actually tweeted about it, but NASCAR and Pixar, or Mattel, whoever makes these, Mattel, have combined for a Cars NASCAR crossover line. Look at this, William Byrev. Oh, he sent a few of these. Check this out. Oh, Chase Raceliot. I don't know how to pronounce that. We've got Gogo Logano and Karsten Ace Dillon. Oh, look at that. Logano one actually kind of looks like his real car. They got the colors right. Some of these other ones are a little all over the place. They got the 3. They got the the RCR number 3 looking good. Oh, and one more. I like this look. Ryan Inside Laney, the number 12. This is a pretty cool set. I saw these at Target, I think, recently. So I think they're in stores nationwide. I mean, go check them out. Not a sponsor by any means, but it's pretty cool to see NASCAR and Pixar, Mattel, big toy company collaborating on something still. That's pretty cool. Thanks for the package, Scrapyard. That's awesome. Got some trading cards sent in here by Bradley from Florida, I believe. Some pretty awesome Matt Kenseth reflective holographic cards. Matt Kenseth Richmond win right here. Another pretty awesome Dollar General looking card. These are pretty awesome in sleeves as well. I don't know anything about trading cards. I have no idea if these are valuable. There's no note attached, but I do appreciate all the trading cards you guys have sent me over the last few months. These are an awesome addition. Oh, we got a pretty cool looking box here from Jeremy in Arizona. And he sent a really cool letter. It says he was a Jeff Gordon fan, but when he retired, took him a few years to find a new favorite. Now it says he's a Chase Elliott, Martin Truex fan. That's pretty cool. I really appreciate the letter. And he sent a pretty amazing die cast as well. This car is from 1997. That's actually the year I was born, so that's pretty cool. Terry Labonte from just down the interstate a couple hours from where I live today. This is really, really awesome. Can you see? You can see Tony the Tiger. You can see the 5. I commented on this in my Hall of Fame video, but look at how much more like slanted, how much more angled the 5 used to be compared to the Hendrick Motorsports number 5 today. This looks awesome. I know a Starburst. Can you see that on the deck lid? Starburst. I always love the Kellogg's car. Do I have it behind me still? I don't. Oh yeah, there we go. Well, we have Kyle Busch's old Kellogg's car, and then I have another Terry Labonte car from like 2002, I think. It's in the other room. I really love the Kellogg's cars. Thanks for this, Jeremy. That's really cool. This next box comes from Benjamin in Alabama, and he sent a note. Found these at a sports shop in Florida on vacation. Open packs if you want, or keep it sealed. Oh boy, I see what he's talking about. What, 1993? Is this like a complete set of 1993 NASCAR trading cards? Action-packed racing cards, not trading, not just racing cards. It is sealed. Wow. Again, I don't know anything about card collecting. I feel like if I unseal this, there's some card collectors out there who are gonna be like, oh, he opened it, what is he doing? Oh, but I wanna see what's inside. Hey, the guy who sent it said I could do whatever I want with it. I'm doing what I want with it. I should probably be more careful than that. Okay, nice, carefully get the saran wrap off. Ooh, look at the yellow shine. Got Rusty Wallace on the top. Oh my goodness, look at these packs. I don't know what to make of pack. Well, let's open one up. Let's see what's inside. I'm being very, very gentle. Oh, this is neat. We've got Davey Allison right here. You know, fitting that today, I believe, is the 28th anniversary of when he tragically passed away. So, wow, 28. That's kind of eerie, actually. This is really, really cool. Check that out. A few others in here. Jimmy Spencer. Look at that. Alan Kulwicki celebrating his 1992 championship. Dale Earnhardt as well. These are like shiny. Look at that. I don't know anything about trading cards, but these are really, really cool. I'm not gonna go through all the packs, although I will go through this one. This one is gold. Special prototype card enclosed. I really feel like there's some collectors out there that are absolutely furious with me right now, and I'm sorry, but I gotta know what's inside. I'll be very careful. This is like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory unwrapping a golden ticket. I guess they unwrapped the chocolate bar wrappers. They didn't unwrap the gold. They found the gold. Never mind. What is inside here? Whoa! There are 2 cards in here. Kyle Petty's old mellow yellow card. Check that out. That's so cool. That looks amazing. They also have one here of Alan Kulwicki and Davey Allison at like the awards banquet or something, all dressed up. Whoa. These are some pretty amazing packs of cards you guys sent. I'll save the rest of these for later, but thank you so much. Benjamin, might have to open the rest of these up like on a stream or something at one point. That could be pretty fun. We've got one more big box here, and this one comes from Ross in Illinois, I believe. Let's check out the note they left. Oh, cool, he sent some stuff from his eBay store. He says he has an eBay store, Classic NASCAR, all one word. He says if you search up Classic NASCAR eBay, you'll find it, so go check it out. Let's see what Ross sent. Oh, check it out, signed Matt Kenseth hat. He said in his note, I believe this is a Jason Ratcliffe signature from a few years ago when they teamed up at Joe Gibbs Racing and won a lot of races in just a few years. Jeez Louise, I'm gonna have to check out that eBay store. This guy must have some pretty awesome stuff. Oh, and there's much more in the box, including mini Jeff Gordon. Wait, where's this must come in like a stand. Here we go. There's a stand, some assembly required, but there you have it. Jeff Gordon celebrating, yeah! I hope the camera's focusing because the detail on this is quite impressive. That looks like Jeff Gordon. Is it focusing? I can't tell. That's amazing. Holy moly. I wish they still did driver action figures poses like this. Why is he's like standing in like his pit box, it looks like. You don't really see drivers celebrate in their pit box, but still really cool. There's a keychain, a Napa Know-How keychain. It's got like a speaker on it. Is there like a...
Napa Know-How.
I don't know what just happened. That just talked to me. What was that?
Hey, I found your keys.
What?
Nothing says auto parts like a keychain.
What?
Listen.
Is that like...
Auto parts.
It's like Mickey Mouse? What is this? Oh gosh, I just made a Mickey Mouse joke about a Napa thing. I'm sorry, y'all. This is the most random thing I've ever seen, but thank you. Oh my gosh, some NASCAR checkered flags. This is gonna look good in the studio. Gotta find a place for this. Some stickers, an old Dale Earnhardt Jr. license plate cover. My goodness, Ross, and then what's in this? It's wrapped in bubble wrap. Ooh, slide this thing. Oh, it's a Dale Earnhardt car. You can see it through the bubble wrap. Oh my. Oh, this is one of those like piggy bank, little coin bank die cast. This thing's like very heavy. It's like made of metal or ceramic or something. But there, look at that. You can put your loose change in there. It's got a key on the bottom. It's got a lock system and everything. This is a pretty elaborate piggy bank. I'm used to just like smashing them like in the cartoons. I will absolutely not be smashing this one. This looks super duper cool. Thanks for sharing this stuff, Ross. Yeah, go check out his eBay store, Classic NASCAR on eBay. I gotta check that out, see what other kind of collectible goodies he may have on sale over there, but this is really, really nice. I really appreciate the generosity. Thank you all so much for sharing stuff on this Show and Tell Tuesday. That's gonna do it for this episode. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel. We talk NASCAR news, rumors, predictions, race reviews, and much, much more every single day. And as always, a huge thank you to my amazing Patreon supporters as well. I really do appreciate the support, y'all. You guys have no idea. Thank you all for watching this episode. I'll see you in the next one. Have a fantastic rest of your afternoon.